Good morning. It's 5 a.m. here in Calgary, our Calgary area, anyway. And we're going to do a little sequence with some warriors and some trees, some triangles, and some eagles. So come join me in standing. We're going to be mostly in standing today. And we're going to start with us in breathing. So let's feel the bottom of the feet. Center of the heel, ball of the foot, base of the pinky toe. And let's just for fun, I know you can't see my toes this far away, but just lift your toes up and feel 3 points in the bottom of your feet. Center of the heel, ball of the foot, and base of the pinky toe. Just feel where those are in space. Yeah. It's interesting because for some people when they lift their toes, they can feel some activation through their legs. It's kind of interesting. So just notice if that's your experience. It might not be. No biggie if it isn't. It's just notice the response that happens when your toes lift. That's really the idea here. Okay, and then we're going to bring the legs wide. We're going to do the same thing. So toes are pointing forward or to the side, wherever you want them pointing. But if you're pointing them out this way, see if you can make it more about a rotation in your hip sockets. Okay, raise those toes again and just feel whatever you feel up through the legs, through to the hips. You might even feel like tension building in your ribs or in your face, which then lets you know that maybe this isn't the greatest movement for you. Yeah? Just get a feel for what's going on between your feet and the rest of your body. Okay, let's come back now to standing. Let's just do a little squatting. And then feel the feet. Now, if you want to add the toes and pull them up, you can. And just notice how that makes a difference or no difference. Good. The world of exploring your body is really interesting when you think about cueing this, because the idea is you really want, as a teacher, I really want people to really just experience whatever they experience in their body and to take note of it. Because there's no right or wrong way to move, right? It's the awareness that you gain in yourself that really opens the door to what you need for yourself. Let's bring the arms up over your head. Now I've got you can see the ceiling above me. My hands kind of skim the ceiling. You might have a higher ceiling. I'm in the basement of our cabin. And then arms come down. Good. And then up. And my little kiddos are sleeping, although my son, he has a little ambulance that he likes to have watch him when he sleeps, and it fell at 4:30 this morning, so I scooted up to see how he was doing. And then I let him know that mom's going to go do some yoga, and then after this she's going to put our Friday ritual of cinnamon buns in the oven. Then I'll be back up to snuggle him. So now you're here after the arms have moved, yeah, and then you get to feel. All right, let's take the legs wide, and we're going to rotate the leg bones from the pelvis here, and then we're going to come down. So he's probably hearing the little whispers of me right now, or he might be asleep, I don't know. And then legs move back, leg bones in the hip sockets, hands on the outside of the thighs. Yeah, and just get a feel of what's going on in your hip sockets. Now, I know some of you, because I know some of you are regular watchers of this, so just notice, you might not have a lot of range here. That's okay. I want you to notice what is available today, and then notice when you move the legs back, what happens to your feet. Yeah. There's so many right ways to move out there. And the key is that all of them are right. All of them are right, yeah? Center of the heel, ball of the foot, base of the pinky toe. Feel what that base of support on your feet looks like or feels like. And let's bring the arms up. Good. And you can always come out of this pose a bit if your legs start to speak too loudly to you. But the key is really, and it's something I'm going to talk more and more about, is it's really about improving your own internal filter. Or building your own internal filter even, or filtering or cleaning the internal filter. Good, and then arms come up and then come down. Okay, if you're still down, then start to lift back up. Perfect. Let's just do a couple more of these, just down and up. Because the question becomes, it's not so much what's the right movement to do, it's what's the appropriate thing to do for you in the moment that we're in now. Not to make that overly complex. But really, that's what it's all about, right? And so you need to build that filter inside to be able to determine when someone says something or cues something or instructs something, does that actually resonate and make sense? Good. Okay, bring the legs back, rotate them back, come back to standing. Okay, now notice, this is why I do all this, like go back, come back, notice what you feel after doing what you've done. Can sometimes feel laborious for some who just want to flow, which then in that case, this is not the morning for you, for me and you. Okay, bring the legs out wide. Let's rotate. We're coming into a warrior two. So we're going to rotate. Just watch that, but that pelvis. All things, let's keep that pelvis level. Good. Okay, now whatever you do with the back leg is whatever you do with the back leg. Let's come into warrior two. Great. And then come on up. You know, and as you know, I'm a big fan of science and research. Big, big fan. But way back early in my career, when a lot of the rehab world was saying, move in pain. You've got to move in pain to get better, right? Just get stronger. Like that's my first job was all about. Just get stronger and get back to work. But innately, it felt just not right. So I didn't do it. I didn't do it. What I taught people in the rehab clinic was move in a range that does not increase your pain, because that's what felt right. I didn't learn it from anywhere. It was like if you got a stew and you got too spicy, you don't add more frickin' spice. It just doesn't make sense. Good, and then come on back. Okay, let's go this way. Warrior two. So if I listened to the evidence solely back then, I would never have made the gains and the impact with my clients or with myself, because back in those days, I also had chronic pain myself back in my early 20s. All right, easy breathing here. So I was able to have a filter. I had enough of a filter, and I could teach people about growing their filter. So they could learn and feel what they needed for themselves. Good, and then come back up. Good. Okay, let's do another just plain old warrior two, and let's just see where you land. So you just kind of take in information and then just measure it and learn to feel what your body is saying, so you can decode symptoms and sensations. Because when you do that, there's less fight with your body, right? Okay, come on down. You start to realize your body is a barometer. That's getting to that place of really being able to listen, right? And all week with my private clients, we've had all these conversations about listening. It can be challenging for sure, particularly when there's these competing thoughts about stuff. Okay, good. And then come back up. All right, now let's come back and notice what you feel. Good. And just see what happens through your hips and your feet. Now raise the toes again. So if you're just joining, we played around with raising toes and dropping them at the beginning. So now notice what happens. And there is no right response. It's the right response is your response. It's what's your response to this? Okay, so I'm going to turn this way. We're going to come into let's go into a high lunge first. So we're going to come first into high lunge. See if you can press that heel back. What happens when you press that heel back? Because remember, your pelvis, your leg in the pelvis has about 3 to 10 degrees of range. So when you come back, your pelvis will be in an anterior tilt. What we're playing around with those, are you generating that movement from your back, or are you generating it from your leg and pelvis? And then your pelvis there's a harmony to that movement, right? There's an intrinsic feel there of harmony, okay? And then let that heel press back. And so then as your heel presses back, the knee straightens. Try not, as an experiment, try not to just push that knee up, right? That's the knee going up versus the heel pressing back. And you'll notice my front leg didn't move, right? So you just kind of play around with that dichotomy between, that's the word I want to use, between the back leg and the front leg. And then you can take the arms up into cactus arms. Good. Okay, let's spin around. And let's do it on the other side. Then we're going to play with some warrior one, and then we're going to do a little bit of a sequence. A little bit of a flow. Press that heel back. See if you can find that heel. And if you can't find the heel, or if you don't want to find the heel, or if it doesn't make sense to find the heel, then just don't listen to what I'm saying. That's it. Okay, good. Cactus arms. Good. Okay, come back up. Now let's check it in. Let's see where we're at. How are things feeling through your body now? It might be that you're feeling energy starting to come in. You might feel more connected. You might feel your legs are a little stronger. Or it might be none of that. Whatever it is for your feeling. Yeah? Okay, so now let's come back. Now we're going to play. Actually, I'm going to show it this way